Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today, and I'm honored to share with you a layout that I created using this collection. It's a Patio Party from Pebbles, created by Jen Hadfield, and I am guest designing for them today. So I chose that pattern paper with the polka dots for my background, and ahead of time I used a piece of the green pattern paper from the 12 by 12 paper pad that was in the cover of the video, as well as some coordinating green cardstock, and I used my silhouette to cut out those leaves. And in some of the leaves there's a score down the center in order to create some depth that you can fold. And I decided to cut those in two different sizes so that I could overlap them and create a wreath as the centerpiece for the layout. And then I'm just going to put white in the center to create the background. But because I have frequently used the same paper, either as a matting for my photo or something, and this is the only piece of this paper that I have, I am going to gut the center because the wreath with the white background will just go right into the center. I could have used the whole piece of paper so that the wreath, that same blue, was showing through, but I wanted the contrast of the green against the white and the blue, which I just thought made it stand out a little bit. So while I was talking, one of the other things that I did was I just cut a piece of that wood grain and white stripe for the top of the layout. I am one who feels like things need to be grounded. And when you don't have either a header or a footer on your layout, I feel like things kind of feel like they're going to float off the page. And so for me, that header just sort of grounds it. Now what I'm doing is I like the organic feel of a layout, and so I'm just adding some thread around the outer border of this green wreath, which I will then set the other cut on top of that. And so it's sort of like vines that are kind of peeking out from underneath the wreath, and you'll see that better. There you go, when I put this down. And I tried to lay that second one down so that you could see the different hue of green underneath, and I didn't have the same leaf sitting on top of the leaf down below that. And I tried to get the thread to be underneath, but you can see I'm going to have to use my tweezers and kind of tuck that in. I wanted it to be loose, but not too loose, if that makes any sense. So that is going to be the foundation of the layout. And then I have a picture of my kids and I on Mother's Day. This was Mother's Day last year because Mother's Day is tomorrow, and we have not celebrated 2018 Mother's Day, so this is my kids and I on Mother's Day last year. And I converted the picture to black and white because there really isn't a whole lot of detail in the picture other than the three of us, and I really wanted the colors of this collection to stand out. So I'm just kind of fluffing up a few of these leaves and folding the creases. I will thin it out a little bit, and I will snip out some of the leaves, I believe, and you will see me use those leaves on another layout early on next week. But you will see that same layout also in the blog post that is over on the Pebbles blog, so be sure to check that out. Now, there were lots and lots of goodies that were sent with this collection, or that come with the Patio Party collection. There's layered stickers, which I'm putting down first. And then these are the die cut ephemera pack with gold foil. So I'm just adding a few additional flowers to that top left corner and the bottom right corner to just draw your eye and add some color to that layout, as one would do on a wreath that was on your door. And then I have a few of the fern pieces or the leafy pieces that I want for, because they're white backed, they stand out from the green leaves that I've already got on the layout there, and just add a little bit more dimension to the layout. So I've got those in place, and now I just want to work on the title. I tend to want to use the words that came in the sticker set, and it says Happy Day, but in order to personalize that and make it a little less generic, I am going to put happy and day, but I Off camera, I'm going to use my Big Kick and the hot pink pattern paper. There's a pink stripe. I'm going to use just the hot pink part of that and cut out Mother's Day so that you can read, and you'll see it in the full layout. It says Happy Mother's Day. So I was able to sort of personalize the thickers there. And those of you who watch my videos know, most of us in this scrappy world now, we've learned that for thickers to really stay, especially if you store your layouts vertically in an album, that the weight of the thickers tend to pull off and sink down to the bottom of the page. So if you use glue or adhesive behind them, even though they are adhesive, they're much more likely to stay and not fall. So I've placed everything where I want things to be, and now I'm just going to use my adhesive to glue them down. One of the other things that I do end up doing off camera, even though I've stuck down that H, is it needed a little bit, a shot of color in there, especially once I got those hot pink letters down. So I am going to use a small piece of the selvage that has the blue florals on it. So it's a blue background with the florals, the multicolored florals. I'm going to cut a small tiny banner out of that will poke out of the right-hand side of that photo there, and you'll see how it becomes, how it really pops the layout a little more with that in there. So I wasn't sure how I was going to get the title in there, and I really wasn't sure what letters Mother was going to be. So I needed to sort of play with the adjustment of where Day was going to go. So now I have these really cool double layered vellum butterflies. You can see them to the left-hand side, and I'm going to put I believe two of those onto the layout and just kind of fluff the wings up a little bit so it looks like the butterflies are resting on the flowers and nestled in the collection there. And actually that butterfly that you see that I've put on the left there, I am going to move over to the right above Happy just to fill that white space. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to move it down to fill the white space below Day and between the flowers there. Because I chose to use smaller letters, I had a little bit of white space that needed some filling there. These are some really cool puffy stickers that are gold enamel. Not enamel, I guess they're gold puffy stickers. And so I'm going to use that little bee there. And off camera, I am going to put a flower poking out of the top of that wood grain and white stripe. And then I'm just looking for a few other critters to fill in some of the spaces here, and that, my friends, is going to be the bulk of the layout. I am going to point to where I'm going to put in Mothers in order to finish off the title, and that is my layout. So be sure to come back and join me. Tuesday of next week is when I'm going to put up my next video for the layout that will be over on the Pebbles blog. Please be sure to go and visit the Pebbles blog, and if you have time, leave me some love. I'd love that. It's been an honor to design for Pebbles again. I hope you're doing well. Take care.